Hi everyone. In this video I want to talk about the assignment. Probably one of the most important parts about Canvas because the assignment as well as quizzes and discussions really create the gradebook automatically and allow you to grade things that are submitted in Canvas as well as things that were never submitted in Canvas at all. So just a couple of review things. There is an assignments tab that is in your course. Typically, we recommend hiding this tab from students because it is probably better practice to use the modules in order to display things. So think of the assignments tab as kind of the file cabinet and the modules page as the actual I'm handing this out to you. So you can create an assignment from either area. I'm currently on the modules and I'm just going to click on the plus menu, jump over to where it has the drop down, choose assignment, and I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to give this a name and I'll add that item. So here is sample assignment 1. Notice that this assignment is not published for students. Currently this module is, but the only things that are published in that module are the things that have the green check mark. So I'm going to publish it for students right now so I don't forget to a little bit later. But most of the time when you're building an assignment, you leave it unpublished until it's done. This assignment now also exists in the assignments tab. This is where it belongs and where it will stay permanently. Again, if I go to the modules and I delete this assignment, I have not removed it from the course or deleted the assignment permanently. I've just taken it back from students. You can't see it. There's no place for you to see it. Again, it still lives in the assignments tab because I haven't gotten rid of it there. This is where if you really want to delete something permanently, do it in the assignments tab. So jump over to the modules. I'm going to put that assignment back in and I'm going to click on it so that I can edit it. Now it has some things already inside this edit menu because I've created this assignment a few times and it defaults to the things I saved last. What I mean by that is it defaulted to the projects rather than the short writes because projects is at the very top of my assignments list. It also defaulted to points because that's typically what I use. But when you're editing an assignment, the most important part is this rich content editor at the top. You can type up instructions here, or you can attach a file, like uploading a document that has the instructions already loaded for the students. So if you already have the assignment, really easy, throw that in there, maybe give a little bit of detail. A couple other reminders, you can add links, external links to things like, oh, here is a video I want you to watch. I'm just going to put google.com on there for right now. Whoops. So there's Google. You can also put links to other things in the course. I sometimes, if I'm going to mention like, hey, refer back to the syllabus, you could go to course navigation and find the syllabus and say, hey, refer to the syllabus when you're doing this assignment, whatever. Make sure that your syllabus is in that syllabus page if you're going to do that. I have another video just on uploading syllabi. Two other things that are a little bit more advanced, but I think are really helpful. If you want to maybe provide a little clarification or help students kind of get through the overwhelming written instruction, you can also use this button here that is upload record media, and you can just record, whether it's just your mic or your mic and your webcam. Can't show you that because I'm recording right now, but you just hit the start button. It'll probably prompt you for permission to use those things. Record the instructions, give them a little kind of push into the right direction, etc. Finish it. You can preview it if you want, save it, and it will drop it right into the course. Same thing happens if I'm going to do like a YouTube video, like, hey, I want you to watch this YouTube video and respond. Or maybe I've already recorded these instructions and I have them on YouTube. I really like when you go to your YouTube video, share, embed, copy. The reason I do that embed is in the assignment, 3 dots, the little cloud, which is everywhere there's rich content editor, it gives you an embed code, and you can just drop that YouTube video right in there so they can watch it without having to click and go anywhere else. So those are the instructions. I'm going to save this assignment and come back. On the main assignment page, this is typically what a student sees when they click on that assignment. In some cases, they will have a place to actually start the assignment. In other places, they might just have instructions because this is something they're doing in class, presentation, performance, a piece of art, whatever it happens to be. I'm going to go back in and edit it and talk about some other options. Now, I know this one's a little bit trickier. Not everyone thinks about their course in terms of points. Sometimes people think about their course in terms of percentages, and that's fine. Points is really relative. When you talk about how they are weighted against each other. If I'm a percentage person and I want this to be worth 3% of my grade, I'll just make it worth 3 points. It gets a little bit trickier if you're using rubrics and other things to make something worth only 3 points, but that really says this is worth 3%. If I'm using weighting, like different groups, like projects are 30%, short writes are 50%, assignments are 20%, I would want to make sure that my points in each group add up to 100, if that's or 1,000 or something easily divisible, and do that. My recommendation for people that are unsure and that's a little bit more intimidating is just think about the relative value of assignments. Think about the amount of work that it takes and how much emphasis you want in the grade. And I keep a flat grade book. In my mind, I make most of my daily assignments and discussions are 10 points. If I'm giving a quiz, I usually make the quizzes worth 2 to 3 times a daily assignment. I usually think like, hey, there's 3 assignments they did and we took a quiz, so the quiz is 30 points, regardless of how many questions are on it. Might be a 10-question quiz for 30 points. My tests typically end up being 2 or 3 quizzes, so anywhere from like 40 to 90 points for a test. Final exam might be like 2 of my tests, maybe 3. So you can start to see the relative value and the weighting assigned in there. And then the other things like a term paper, a project, I try to evaluate like, well, a term paper is kind of worth the amount of a test, or maybe it's worth the amount of a final test. Whatever it is, I think relative and let the computer do the math in the background. Keeping a flat grade book is very transparent to students because they really struggle with weighted averages. And a lot of times, I have a lot of people that come and ask me for help with their grade book because they are also struggling with the weighted average and how it's calculating student grades. So the simpler, the better, in my opinion. Again, I showed you can put a group for this. You can create a group right from here as well. Talk about the groups later in the assignments tab. When you grade the assignment, regardless of how many points this is worth, so I'll use that 3%, I can grade the assignment based on, I'll give you a 2.5 out of 3, or I can grade it as a percentage. I'll give you a 97%. I could grade it as a letter grade, like you got an A, and it will translate that into the number of points. It's really important, and I need to update this a little bit for some of the things, but it's really important in that case that you view your grading scheme, and in some cases you might have to manage the grading scheme that you have for that course. So this is the WLC default grading scale. You might have to add other ones in there, and I'll have another video on that if you don't use the default one. You can make a course grading scale and you can use it in your course. All right, so points, how you want to grade it. I'm going to do percentage for this one and say this is a 3-point or a 3% project. I'm going to grade it on a percentage. When it comes to submissions, the first one here was no submission. Perfect for something that's happening in class, participation, things like that. I can still have a place to give comments, feedback, rubrics, or whatever I want to use to grade it. They can still see it in their grade book. It will automatically be averaged, etc. I could also do an on-paper assignment, something that I'm asking you to print this out and turn it in, or it's a lab notebook, whatever, it's on paper. I strongly encourage you that anything that can be digitally created or digitally captured, whether it's via a scan, a photo, a video, or an actual file they've created, use that, because students quite often have to go back and grab these artifacts for things like their portfolios, etc. When it comes to online submissions, the different types, and I'm going to click all of them. And then I am going to also pick something over here. Like, let me just go course files, uploaded media. I don't know if they have the ability to see that, but I'm just going to put one in there and talk about it in a second. So text entry, it really just gives them this text entry box. They can do all of the things you can do here. They can record, they can add links, they can, write, they can insert documents. So it's the most flexible, but it's probably not as commonly used as the file upload. File upload is exactly what most people think of as a Dropbox. You upload your documents, I get to see them, etc. Website URL just gives them a prompt to add a website and a comment. Media recordings allows them to record media. I very rarely use this. I'm not even going to demonstrate it because you can record media in the file upload area, and you can upload media in the file upload area. Student annotation is kind of an interesting one because you can, and I'm actually going to uncheck this and see if I can upload a file. Let me just grab an image. And say, like, here is an image of something. I don't know what it is. For some reason, I have the image of the Blackhawks logo. So let me go to that. I was looking up there. I should have been down here. So images. Let's just do math, actually, and add that. So I'm uploading this file, etc. Media recordings, I mentioned, I'm not going to show that. Those are the types of things that students could be able to submit. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to show you what it looks like for a student. I'm going to make sure that it's published, and I'm going to go to Student View. So a student, when they are coming in here, if they are doing student annotation, you're going to see they have all kinds of things to, like, put marks on here, highlight things. Oh, I thought I could highlight, maybe it's got to be words. I can put a text box in here and say, like, this is the mean. You can draw on it. You can do all kinds of things. Not always the easiest with a mouse, or especially with one that's on a laptop. So they don't recommend ever doing this by itself. Sometimes they say if you're going to do student annotation, you should also do maybe a file upload in case they need to create it themselves. File upload allows you to upload a file from your computer. So I'm just going to choose a file. Let's go up here to, I don't know what I have in documents. Oh, I probably need to go down here. So I'll go to course materials and say, like, oh, here, well, I don't want to upload a quiz. What do I got? Let's go to personal. Drums. Here's a rock drums PDF. I'll open that. I could add another file from that same location. I'm going to click upload file. I'm going to choose, in this case, maybe a zip file. That has a lot of things in it. I don't necessarily recommend letting students upload a zip file because a lot of times people have trouble doing that. But PDFs, MP3s, whatever it is that you want to let them upload, you are able to restrict it. I'll show you that. They could even just use their webcam and record something if that's the way that it seems to me. They can add comments to it and they can submit the assignment. Text entry is, like I said, gives you the whole gamut of tools. Website URL, just the website URL. So I am going to actually submit this one. And I'm going to point out that even though I've given them the ability to submit all of these different types, if I limit the number of submissions that they are allowed to do to one, they have to pick either the annotation, the file upload, the text entry, or the website URL. So there's reasons for doing only having one submission, and I'll talk about those once this thing is finished uploading. It's taking a lot longer. It must be a very big PDF. It's probably a lot of different rock drum beats. But there's good reason to do that. So let me see if I can, I don't think I can leave the student view. I'm just going to pause. I'll come back. All right, so the student has finished uploading their thing. I'm back in the teacher view. Clicking on the edit button, I'm going to talk about some of these other things. Allowed attempts, you can limit that. Keep in mind that once a student submits it, if the attempts are limited, even if they made a mistake, you have to go back and reassign it to that student in order to allow that. I'll show you that in a second. A lot of times people will use limited attempts if they are going to use something like Turnitin and give them immediate feedback. Personally, I leave this as unlimited number of attempts, and I don't give feedback till after the assignment is graded. And that way they can see what I see as far as that review. If I want to let them resubmit the assignment, I still have to give them the ability to do that. But with the unlimited, it's a little bit easier. Talk about group assignments in a different session. I can't do it since I've already submitted in this one anyway. And keep in mind there's an entire video on Turnitin. Peer reviews. These ones I don't have as much experience with, but I know that the one thing I'm not sure on yet is I can automatically assign peer reviews. Let's say you have 2 reviews. And if I automatically assign it and I do this blank, after the due date for the assignment, it's going to automatically assign people to review things. I'm not 100% sure if it will only assign people once something's submitted or if it will give them, hey, you have to review this person's thing and they haven't submitted anything yet. What I do realize is that if it's after the due date, you're not grading those reviews. If you want to grade how they reviewed somebody, you would have to do that separately. I'm fairly positive that a faculty member can see the peer reviews. You can also make it anonymous so that the student who submitted the paper doesn't know who's reviewing them. I don't know if that makes it anonymous to the faculty as well. So in the assign to, you have the ability to assign this to everyone. You can also just pick specific students, like, oh, this assignment is only for the IDC student, or this assignment is for everyone, or this assignment is for this section specifically. That really is important if you are using multiple sections cross-listed into one course. For example, on everyone has the same due date if we all meet on the same day. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, the College 101 example section has it on August 17th, and I'll add another one, but the IDC student has it due on the 19th because he won't be there or late, etc. That's also how you add additional submissions for a student if you're going to reassign it. They've already submitted, and you need to open it up for them again. The available from and until in assignments, I'm really skeptical of using them. I use them primarily on quizzes. Available from can be confusing because a lot of people think like, oh, well, this is available from August 3rd until August 24th. And today, well, I'll make this the 6th, August 6th to the August 24th. And they feel like, oh, that means it's automatically going to publish it to students. You still have to publish the assignment to make it viewable. The available from restricts their access to it. So in a quiz, I have it published at the beginning of the course, and students can see that there's a quiz, but they can't touch it until August 6th. I don't like using the until on assignments in a course a lot of times because I want them to turn it in. If it's late, they get penalized, but I don't want to have to come back and manually add a new due date for every student that has it. So I will just do this, and I leave the due date the way that it is. I manually adjust for grade or for things that are past due. I don't let Canvas automatically do that. But that's really important. A couple of things in there, especially if you want to give different due dates for different people or assign it only to a certain person, like maybe it's a makeup a test or something, or a makeup assignment, whatever happens to be. So I'm going to save this assignment again, and I'm going to show you, since I uploaded it before and I realized I uploaded a zip file, so there's tons of them in here. If I go to the SpeedGrader now as the teacher, inside the SpeedGrader, you notice I can view the file. Typically, I have some things in order to highlight, etc. I don't on this one, simply because I think it's the test student that I'm grading on here. I am grading this one by percentage, so actually giving this a 97% converts that for me. If I was grading out of points, I'd have to give it however many points it's worth. And then when I'm finished with all this, I can submit the results. Couple other things I want to show you about this is here's the gradebook view. If I'm in the course, there is the grades area, and you'll see that this is a 3-point assignment. It's displaying it as percentages on there. I also want to show you the assignments page, because the assignments page is where I do most of that kind of managing what order things show in the gradebook and or changing a lot of things at once. So I'm not going to get into assignment weighting for this, but I am going to point out that under here, the assignment settings, there is an edit assignment dates. And in that case, especially if I have a lot of things, and this is actually, my screen's just a little bit too small. If I have a lot of settings on there, it'll show me, and my screen's big enough, it'll show me all of these things kind of across so that I can go through, and number one, I could just batch edit this and remove all the dates and availability dates. Makes it easier at the beginning of the school year, because maybe as I'm going through, I can say like, oh, this one's going to be due on the 10th and this one's going to be due on the 12th. Notice these are for the different students since I assigned them separately. Most assignments I do like, here's the 30th, here's the 26th, here's the 23rd. And again, I don't mess around with these unless it's a quiz. So you can definitely do that as you go. I think it is important to make sure that your due dates are up to date. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about the assignments, how the assignments are put into the gradebook, showed a little bit on grading as well, but really specifically taking a look at the settings and the types of assignments that you can use.